cows look funny.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cross Timbers Bison. Today we are starting a massive project called the Great Plains Grasslands Initiative. A big project a lot of local organizations and the NRCS is taking on. So here's what it is. We're taking on the Great Plains Grassland Initiative, of course, for you know who, the American bison. So what does that encompass? We're opening the Great Plains back up. One of the ways that we're gonna open up the Great Plains is right there. So for Marissa and I, there's two things that are going on here at the ranch. We're doing a lot of brush removal using my brother-in-law from Armstrong Homestead, his brush cutter here. Awesome beast of a brush cutter. So we're getting rid of cedar trees. We're getting rid of black and honey locust trees, hackberries and winged elm. A lot of invasive plants that can take over and really encroach in your grasslands. And then a second thing that we're doing is we're doing brush cleanup underneath what these are right here. These are our native pecan trees. So not only are we opening the Great Plains back up by doing our brush removal, we're also getting rid of brush and cleaning up underneath our pecan trees so we can actually harvest our native pecans right here at the Ponderosa. Let's get it going. All right, so perfect example right here. There is a big native pecan tree right there. We will not be able to harvest the pecans from this, and you can see the reduced growth of this tree. I'm gonna cut all these cedars down right here and some winged elm right on the back side of it. And we're gonna clean all this up. We're gonna make it accessible so we can harvest pecans off this tree. And we're gonna give this pecan an opportunity to get more water because the cedar trees are robbing from it. And two, more growth. Let's go give this pecan tree some help. All right, so you guys want to see something fun? I've rented the Marshall tree saw. What I'm doing is going through here in my riparian zone. I'm going through here and cutting a bunch of cedars down. Look at this area right here. I want you guys to see what this is. This is a giant pecan tree here, very old. I can see the base of it. It looks like I could barely probably get my arms around it, but I'm sure to see the growth, what's going on right here. Cedar, obviously eastern red cedar. And then the growth of this tree, it's not being able to produce pecans right here because it's being swallowed up, right? So you can see these low hanging limbs should be low hanging over here as well, but it can't. So we're gonna take care of that real quick. Now take a look at that. Look at this big old beautiful pecan tree. Nothing growing on this half. Why? Because of all these cedars. Stuff going on the south half, but not this side. Guys, that's a big old tree. I cannot put my arms around it. I'm short. I thought I could from a distance. Nope, not gonna happen. That's a big tree. Notice there's no growth under here either. Lots of needles from the cedar tree, but look at that big old beautiful pecan. Yes, it's beautiful. And look at these big old cedar trees. Yes, this would make good lumber or something to harvest it. You know, that's a good 2x4 there, something. We don't have any sawmills around here, but great. There it is. We're out here at our hay meadow, kind of at the back side of the property here. This is what the Great Plains should look like. This is what our pastures, the goal is to ultimately look like. Will that happen? Not entirely. This is a beautiful hay meadow, but we actually don't use it for hay anymore. For the past 3 years, we actually use it for grazing our bison. This is part of their big grazing management plan during the growing season. So nope, we don't harvest hay off of it anymore. We buy our hay and bring it in, but this is what we want it to eventually look like. Yes, there's a little outskirts of some native trees that occur here. Very dominant is pecan trees. Then we have post oak and blackjack oak and lots of others. So yep, that's part of the cross timbers region, hence the name. It's where the forest of eastern Oklahoma meets the prairie. So we're gonna have some trees, but the idea is to make it look more like this right here. We're in the Marshall tree saw. I want to show you, this is a perfect example of what's going on here. We've got an eastern red cedar pretty tall, probably 30 foot and peak height here, maybe taller, big base. I want you guys to look at this almost perfect circle here of what happens when you have a cedar tree that's been here for a long time. The needles fall, the seeds fall, these suckers wash down into the water and spread out. This is a female cedar tree, right? Bad stuff. Look at all those berries. But here's the main issue. So the issue is, when we look at this, you see the canopy, there's maybe 90% covered, no sunlight coming in here. What you also don't see is any growth. Yeah, there's what growth you see here? Cedar, 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 cedar. Okay, this is new cedar growth. What happens is a major thing is going on here because of this tree. It's erosion. Probably a little bit of wind, but mostly water. And it runs off that hill. There's no grass or vegetation or anything to catch that runoff, which it means it goes right into the creek and that topsoil disappears. Topsoil has disappeared here for many years. And we've had the ponderosa for 3 years now. So it was like this before. But we're now getting out here. Of course, we have lots of projects and lots of trees to cut. But the eastern red cedar, some people are for it. It's great for wind blocks and snow breaks and stuff like that. But not here. We don't need it because it causes problems like this. What we're going to do is cut it, get rid of it, more than likely burn it because I like to burn. And then what we'll start to see is the sunlight will be able to come in. The bison will come through here and stomp. There should be a seed bank of native grasses in there. Let the bison go out there and poop and pee and bring the poop in here. Bring some of those seeds in here and I'll stop it down. We'll get some moisture, get some sunlight. And in a year or so, there'll be green grass growing right here. Get rid of your cedars. All right, so take a look here. Looks a little bit different than when we started. When I got in here, I didn't know what type of trees I was gonna really see. I mean, there's a bunch of cedar in here. There's hackberry and winged elm. Those were the most amount of species. Now, these are all deciduous trees here that are at the Cross Timbers Bison Ranch. But inside there, some of those tall trees right there are native pecan trees. So there's not going to be a whole lot of these trees left. Now I'll probably have to use a Marshall tree saw because some of those trees are pretty big. I saved a couple oaks. There's a big oak here on the edge of this pecan tree. You think about wild turkeys, they love to roost up high in some of those older trees, maybe some that are dead, and they don't like any underbrush underneath them. So as long as they can, they could be at the top of the tree and look down for predators, that's where wild turkeys will be roosting, and that's where they'll populate. If you've got a lot of underbrush and understory and they can't see through, they're going to move on and go somewhere else. So those are little bitty things like that you can think about and how it affects. We're not just, doing this for bison. It's going to be a holistic approach. There'll be different species of birds that will be able to go in here and nest. More birds will be able to come out here in this beautiful hay meadow, use it for nesting and for their habitat, because when we knock a bunch of these trees down, there's no grassland. You'll have more of your grassland species of birds that are going to come in here because of the leks. And so that's other predators that can hide up on the top of these trees. Or you have predators such as a coyote and bobcat and raccoon that can sneak up on them down here in this underbrush and get out here to them. Now, they're out here in the middle. Obviously, that's it's a lower chance of predation. But in places like this, you come through, you take out all the trees that aren't supposed to be here. The cedar, those trees can take over, and they're just nasty, shrubby trees. And the hackberry and the winged elm are tough. They're hard to cut with this tree cutter. but I'll probably have to get a bigger tree cutter just to saw down the big trees. But I got a lot of the underbrush here, so it looks much better. We're going to try to, create better habitat, open up the Great Plains and the grasslands like they used to be. When people stop managing the land and you take 1 or 2 trees and it turns into 30 or 40 in a couple years. I want to thank Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. As you can see here, I have a couple large piles between here and there of all this cedar that I've been removing. And this project started basically back in October when I got the brush cutter from my brother-in-law, Daniel, and just got after this. So after we got all this cedar removed, I've come through with the grapple and I've stacked a bunch of it up right here. And then we'll come through and we'll burn this thing and get rid of it. Something I like to relate this to is removing all these bad trees and pile them up and getting rid of them so we can protect species like this. Kind of reminds me of how we try to protect ourselves and our family from phishing, scamming, from data brokers stealing our identity and selling it. That's why we use Delete Me. Delete Me is that brush cutter. Delete Me is going to go in, remove all of the bad stuff, just like we're protecting these native pecan trees so that they can flourish, be productive, and hopefully we can harvest some pecans off these trees. Unfortunately, scammers have some of the same goals. There's 2 things that they want. They want your personal information or money. Just so you guys know, there is a recent change in methods of scamming and phishing that you may want to know about. Artificial intelligence and the use of AI today can be very beneficial to you and I. Unfortunately, with the use of AI, these scammers are getting creative at more convincing sounding emails, even voicemails, videos, and AI photos. But don't worry, Delete Me makes it quick, easy, and safe to remove your personal data online. You can put the brakes on data brokers and these scammers and help clean up your personal identity and protect you and your family. Guys, you can scan the QR code or go to joindeleteme.com/bison and get 20% off consumer plans and use the promo code Bison at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/bison. Use the code Bison at checkout. Check out this, how much created here. This is a huge pecan tree, one of the largest on the property. Massive, the size of 11, whatever. I mean, this is a massive tree, guys. Huge. All pecan. Another one right here that we saved. Hopefully in a couple years we get some moisture during those years, this will all come back and be very, very productive pecan trees. Still got some work to do. Piled a bunch of them up, just got to come back through and burn them. One thing I've been actually surprised about is that we've given the bison room. Basically, when we've cleaned out some of this brush that I've been doing, something I've noticed is it gives the bison room to run in here. See these tracks? There's some deer tracks too as well. The bison will actually come in here and clean a bunch of this out. They'll come in here, they'll stop, they'll browse. Of course, there's nothing to browse now. We're in the dormant season, but they will actually come through here and knock a bunch of this stuff down. They knock the small limbs down, the small trees, the cedar trees, they rub on them, and they kind of will open it up. Yes, I've opened it up a bunch just with the skid steer and then using the grapple, but the bison have done a lot of this, and they've been in here along the creek and kind of cleaned up the edges around the creek and stuff. So it's pretty impressive what the bison can do. They're almost like sort of goats. Look at the size of this cedar tree. Oh, it's good right there. It's good burning wood. I'm gonna attempt to do something since truck's broke down. Don't have my skid steer here either. I'm gonna try to roll out a bale of hay with my uncle's tractor on our cleaned out pond. It's gonna rain too, so I really kind of want to spread some out, let the bison do their thing, so this hay can kind of start getting a hold, and this moisture we're getting as it starts to warm up, hopefully get some growth and slow, you know, some erosion down and get some grass growing on this dirt here on our dam. I have to be honest, I really miss my hydro bed, because with my truck, I could have started right over there, unrolled it, and unrolled it all the way out there and never skipped a beat with the hydro bed. I absolutely miss it. So a couple of days ago, Brooks and I were driving and was pulling my skid steer, and like less than a quarter mile from the Ponderosa, I heard something like a bomb went off right underneath the bottom of my truck. Bomb went off. Like, what was that? Well, the great thing is the truck was still running. That was the great thing. The bad part is it wouldn't go in drive or reverse. Good neighbor stopped by and helped me. Had to unload the skid steer, pull my truck and the trailer in somebody else's property. Run-in trucker service came in and picked my truck up and took it to the Chevy dealership down the road. Still waiting diagnostics on that and what's wrong with it. So keep you guys updated on the farm truck. And so I've been without the house and my skid steers at the lease property, getting it ready so we can take some animals to the lease. So I am relying on my uncle's tractor, which I'm very thankful for. I managed to roll it out better by hand than using the tractor. It was just much easier. I'll get out of your way. Let's go. It's all yours. Do your thing. Love you guys. Stay brown. What in the heck? Well, it's working. Kind of doing the old Jim Carrey version of sticking your head out the window. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Because this is a little frozen. Yeah, it looks like I shot it, but I didn't shoot it, I promise. I did not shoot it. I scratched it a little bit to see if it'd flake off, and Yeah, we've got freezing drizzle. But I want to light this up before all this moisture comes. I want to get some of this stuff burnt. That's the goal here. Now we're having some fun. Oh, look at the bison in the back. They're like, what the heck is going on? That one's going. That was the first one I started. Got this one going. We're gonna stay warm. Temperatures are dropping. Got a freezing rain. Starting this pile, it should go up here in a second. Stuff is dry. Ooh, we're getting good flames over here. Yeah. Perfect day. We're doing this. Yes. All that steam coming off the ground. Well, I just left this pond dam. There's like 3 or 4 piles going there. Decent. And now I'm actually going to go where the bison are. Big Joe herd is. We're going to light some off in there. Let's see what they think. They could get excited. Plus it's cold. They just love cold weather, so there's no telling how they'll act. Frozen. Look funny. Ooh, here's a good one. There's a couple good ones. Whoa. Whoa, what's up? What's up? Look at this herd. You guys are a little frosty today. Kit, you're always frosty. Have I ever talked to you guys about one of my favorite things to do? I think you got the answer. Well, I told you we were going to burn them. That's the cheapest, most effective way to get rid of brush is basically what I did and then burn it. Now, I know a lot of that cedar is valuable and can be valuable. The key is around here is having a sawmill and knowing somebody that has a sawmill. So I'm trying to do that is find somebody that has a sawmill. And I think I'm getting closer to knowing somebody, and because I'm doing some brush cleanup at the cabins, I'll tune you in on as well. So a couple of things I need to be thankful for here is, one, my brother-in-law Daniel, being able to use his Ironcraft brush cutter. That thing is a beast, so I can get a lot of that done. And I've had it for months now, and I've accomplished so much with it and still have much more work to do, more brush removal to continue that grassland initiative to opening up the Great Plains back up places like our property here at the Ponderosa. So thank Daniel and and his Ironcraft. 2, I want to thank Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. Guys, you can get 20% off consumer plans at joindeleteme.com/bison. Don't forget to use the code BISON at checkout. Hey, Jackie. Sweet girl. Thank you guys for watching us. We'll see you guys soon. We're going to keep on bison ranching.